welcome back to my channel. My name's Sophie and today's video is going to be my October reading wrap up and my November TBR. Before we get into the stats and the books for this video, please make sure you like this video if you enjoy it and subscribe to my channel for more bookish content. I post bookish videos every Sunday. So let's get into the reading stats. I read a total of 15 books and DNF'd 1. My page count for the month was 5,608 pages, which is one of my highest page counts I think ever. But my average rating was 3.63, so a bit on the lower side. There were quite a lot of 3 stars, a couple of 2 stars this month. So let's get into the books I read in October. So the first book I read, which was part of a Halloween themed vlog, which I'll link above, was The Sanatorium by Sarah Pearse. I did give this one 3 stars. So it was good, it was alright, but it felt like the author couldn't really decide who did it. This plot and the sort of mystery felt a bit all over the place. So the setting for this one was really interesting. It's set in the Swiss Alps in an old sanatorium, so there's a lot of history and a lot of things going on there. That was really interesting, but the mystery was just a bit sort of meh. But I will be continuing on. I think this is like a companion series. It follows the same detective. So we'll carry on because it was a fun read, but nothing really special. So that's why I gave it 3 stars. Next up, I read Love Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood. I gave this one 4 stars. So I've been putting off reading this one because I find a lot of Ali Hazelwood books very samey. I've obviously read The Love Hypothesis. I think it's Love on the Brain and then the 3 short stories. I've also read Bride by her, which I really didn't like. And yeah, I just kind of feel like she's very samey, but I actually really enjoyed this one. I really loved the characters, and this really did feel like a very mature adult relationship. There weren't any sort of immature bits going on. Like sometimes the characters can be a bit whiny and stuff like that. This wasn't the case in this book. The third act conflict made sense and I liked the resolution. I really love the side characters in this as well, and I'm actually really excited now to read more Ali Hazelwood. So yeah, this one was a really nice surprise. I then posted a spooky fairy loot reading vlog, so I'll just quickly go over the books in there, but if you want to see my more in-depth thoughts, I'll leave it linked above. So one of the books I read for that vlog was If I Have to Be Haunted by Miranda Sun, and I gave this one 3 stars. It was a fun, spooky YA fantasy. It was interesting, but it's definitely not something that stuck with me. I can't even really remember the characters' names. The epilogue definitely sets it up for the sequel, but I don't think I'll be continuing. I'm quite happy with this. It was a fun ride and I'm kind of done with it now. There was also like a really random character introduced that just had absolutely no relevance to the plot. Like this could have been so much shorter, or even just involved a lot more that was actually relevant to the plot. And yeah, some things just really weren't explained very well, so that's why I gave it 3 stars. Like it was fun, but it wasn't really anything special. I then read The Cousins by Karen M. McManus. I gave this one 3 stars. So this was a YA mystery, but the mystery wasn't really very interesting. It was very dragged out and then it resolved really, really quickly. And yeah, this wasn't her best, I don't think. It was fun, but it was quite forgettable, and it feels like ages ago that I read this actually. I can't even really remember what happened, but yeah, not one of her best, and that's why I gave it 3 stars. I then DNF'd The Honey Witch by Sydney J. Shields, which I was quite sad about because I was actually really excited to read this book. The cover is absolutely stunning. It sounded right up my alley. But this just wasn't written very well, I don't think. This writing style's not for me. The dialogue felt really stilted and false, and like the characters felt like they were sort of marionette puppets. Like they didn't really have any character. And there was a lot of very clunky info dump, and I only got about 50 pages in and I was like, I just can't read this. I can't do this. So yeah, DNF this one, which I'm very sad about. I then read Evocation by S.T. Gibson, and I gave this one 2 stars. I really didn't like this one. I don't think this author's for me. I read A Dowry of Blood by this author, DNF'd it, didn't enjoy this one. I won't be trying any more of them. I've only read those 2 or DNF'd one and didn't like this one because they came in a fairy loot. I think if they come in a fairy loot again, I'll just get rid of it or skip the box if I know ahead of time. So this was supposed to be like a really spooky book about like tarot cards and demon possession and stuff, and it was just focused on the romance, and I just wasn't really interested in it. The romance took over this book. I wasn't here for it. And the sort of the demon possession, the occult stuff was resolved so quickly. So we had like the first 100 pages were really good, and then the middle bit was just the romance, and then the resolution was just so easy. Considering they were struggling to find a resolution, it was resolved so quickly so that romance could take over again, and I just wasn't here for it. And yeah, like I said, I won't be reading from this author again, so 2 stars for this one. I then read The Ex-Hex by Erin Sterling, and I gave this one 3.5 stars. This was a really fun witchy romance with ghosts, a talking cat, and lots of magic. It was a really cute romance. The plot was resolved quite conveniently, but it was just a fun read, and I enjoyed it for what it was. So yeah, I gave this one 3.5 stars, and I'm excited to continue on with this series. They're like companion novels as well, so yeah, really excited for the next one. I then read the Jasmine Jasmine Throne by Tasha Suri. I gave this one 4 stars. I really, really enjoyed this one. It was a really interesting fantasy world and magic system that was explained really well from the get-go. Prologue was really explosive and had me hooked from that very first page. The plot was really good. It was really well paced. I read this in a day. I just couldn't put it down. It was just really, really good. I'm really excited to continue this series. So yeah, 4 stars for that one. I then read Tools of Engagement by Tessa Bailey, and I gave this one 4 stars. This was a really fun sort of age gap romance, sort of a typical Tessa Bailey book, but I really enjoyed it nonetheless. The family dynamics in here were very intense on both sides as well, which was really nice to see. And yeah, it was just a fun romance, so yeah, 4 stars for this one. I then read The Year of the Witchin by Alexis Henderson, which I gave 4.5 stars. This was featured in another Halloween themed reading vlog, so I'll leave all of them linked. Any books that are featured in any reading vlogs, I will leave linked above. I loved how creepy and like how witchy this atmosphere was. Plot and the characters were really, really interesting. And yeah, it was just a really sort of heartbreaking time for women and girls to live in. Like, I just really wanted to reach in and just give all these women a hug. And yeah, it was just really, really good. Really creepy is exactly what I wanted at this time of year for Halloween. So yeah, I gave that one 4.5 stars. I then read The Paris Apartment by Lucy Foley, and I gave this one 3 stars. So this was really interesting and creepy at the very beginning. So the mystery was really cool, and then the plot and the mystery was just kind of all over the place. And like, we'd end chapters on like a cliffhanger, and then the resolution to that would be really anticlimactic. So when there was actual proper cliffhangers that were relevant, you're just kind of like, oh, whatever, don't care. It was a very interesting end, but it kind of felt like it was just out of nowhere. There weren't many sort of hints throughout this as to what was going on. And yeah, it was a fun, quick thriller, but it wasn't really anything special. I will be reading more of Lucy Foley because I did really enjoy her other book that I've read. I think it was The Hunting Party. So yeah, this one just wasn't her best, I don't think. I then read The Housemaid by Frida McFadden, and I gave this one 5 stars. I absolutely loved this one. I read this in a day. I couldn't put it down. Fantastic. So many twists that I didn't see coming. Like, you think you know where you're going with this, and then the author just takes you in a complete different direction. It was just absolutely fantastic. I'm really excited to read the rest of this series and other books by this author. I think she's a fantastic, from what I've read, obviously, I think she's a fantastic author, and this was just amazing. One of the best thriller books I've read in a very, very long time. Highly, highly recommend. I then read Gods of Jaden's Shadow by Sylvia Marino Garcia. This is my first Sylvia Marino Garcia book, and I gave this one 4 stars. So this was a really quick read, and I was really interested in the Mexican mythology and the setting of, I think, Mexico in the 1920s. I love the relationships in this, and how they ended was actually quite realistic. I think you're sort of rooting for these characters, and yeah, they both are happy at the end, and that's all that matters. And yeah, I'm really excited to read more by this author. This one was really, really fun. I then read The Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires by Grady Hendrix, and I gave this one 4.5 stars. I really enjoyed this one. I love the setup of a book club of women trying to get rid of a vampire in like the sort of 1990s or 1980s. I can't remember when this was set. But yeah, this was really, really cool, and yeah, really creepy. Exactly what I wanted again at this time of year. Spooky Halloween read. And yeah, I really need to check out more from Grady Hendrix. I am quite a scaredy cat, but I seem to be doing okay with his books so far. So yeah, really, really love this one. I then read The Pumpkin Spice Cafe by Laurie Gilmore. This is a really fun, like, autumnal, small town romance. And yeah, really cute. The conflict could have just been resolved with a very easy conversation. I feel like the third act breakup was just a bit kind of stupid. But yeah, it could have been resolved with a conversation. But other than that, this was really fun. It was a really quick read as well. And yeah, the cover's absolutely gorgeous as well. I'm really excited to check out the rest of the books in this series. Yeah, I did really like this one. So yeah, 3.5 stars for that one. Sorry, I'm going through these quite quickly because I read so much. I don't want to like have you sat here for ages watching me review all these books. But yeah, the last book I read in October was City of Stairs by Robert Jackson Bennett, and I gave this one a 3.5 stars. So this one was quite confusing at first. It did all come together at the end, but I was getting confused between character names and like how the sort of world even works, kind of thing. Like, it was explained, but I think maybe it's just me. I'm just a bit, I don't know, this kind of lost me a little bit in places. I do think maybe the magic system in the world could have done with a bit more explanation. I don't know if that's just my personal preference, but yeah, like I said, I got a bit confused at point. I did really enjoy the plot of this one, and I am excited to continue on with this series. I'm really interested to see where the plot actually goes from here. But yeah, I've read the beginning of the beginning of 2 of his series now, so I really do need to actually carry on with his series. But yeah, This one was a 3.5. I do think that this series is going to get better as I read more books. But yeah, I did enjoy this one. It was just 3.5 stars for me. Those were all the books I read in October. I will just very briefly go over my TBR for November. So I do have a few reading vlogs planned. I do have another episode of reading the oldest books on my TBR. For that one, I'm going to be reading Daughter of the Pirate King by Trisha Levenseller, and then The Falconer by Elizabeth May, and then Keeper of the Lost Cities, Stella Loon by Shannon Messenger. And then I will also be partaking in Final Book Support Group hosted by Steph over at Steph Love. So there's quite a few books I could be reading for this. I'm hoping to maybe get to The Damned by Renee Adier, Shorefall by Robert Jackson Bennett, and then maybe The Oleander Sword by Tasha Shuri. I'll try and do 3. It's over a week, so I should be able to get that done. Other than that, my reading month is pretty open, so I think I am gonna maybe try and focus on finishing or catching up with series throughout the whole month. I do have quite a lot going on series wise at the moment, and then maybe start reading some like Christmassy books. We'll see. I do have a few of those from the library. I've got Inner Holidays by Christina Lauren, 8 Perfect Hours by Leah Lewis, and then Window Shopping by Tessa Bailey. I could read those. Is it too early to start talking about Christmas? And yeah, maybe also read The Deal by Elle Kennedy, and maybe Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. They're kind of like, they seem like winter vibes to me as we're going into like the colder month. Maybe I could read those. But yeah, other than that, I think we're just kind of gonna see where it goes for the month. Maybe continue on and read The Housemaid's Secret by Frida McFadden. I'm gonna try and focus on wrapping up series for definite. So yeah, we've got quite a few on the go. Yeah, I think maybe actually I'll set a little challenge for myself to see how many series I can get caught up with and finished for the month. I think that would be really cool. That would be a really nice way to like maybe November and December, just see how many I can get finished and then go into 2025 with like a bit of a fresh start. But yeah, I think that's going to be sort of it for today's video. I do apologise if those reviews were quite rapid fire. I did speak about a lot of these books in reading vlogs, and I just didn't want to just keep repeating myself. You know, if I've already mentioned it in a video, I don't really feel like I need to deep dive into it here. That's going to be it for today's video. So please remember to like this video if you've enjoyed it and subscribe for more bookish content. Comment down below, let me know if you've read any of these books. What do you think of them? And yeah, I'll see you in the next one, guys. Bye!